Let's go ahead and call our closed session to order. This is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. It is 5 p.m. And Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on our closed session items?
No request to speak.
How about any correspondence received?
No correspondence.
All right, thank you. So, council members, let's go ahead and recess to closed session. We'll return for our regular 6 p.m. meeting at that time. Thank you. All right, folks, do we have everybody? We're all set here? I think we're all set. So I'm going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. It's great to see so many friendly faces that are here today joining us for our city council meeting tonight. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, and it is 6 p.m. So I'm calling the meeting to order, and we did have a closed session at 5 p.m. earlier. Mr. Melching, do we have anything to report from our closed session, sir?
No, Mayor.
All right, thank you. With that, Madam Clerk, have you received any correspondence on tonight's agenda?
Yes, the council received items on 5.3 and 12.1 in your red folders.
All right, very good. And if you would you please call roll?
Councilmember Estrada,
Here.
Councilmember Carwin,
Here.
Councilmember Sobek,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dinas,
Here.
and Mayor Zimmerman.
And I'm here. Now, I believe we have Mr. Thor Ramsey with the Center Church. He's here. Yes. Sir, thank you for coming tonight and providing some words of inspiration and helping us set the tone for our meeting tonight.
It is
Welcome.
certainly my pleasure. Let me hit my watch here so I make sure I hit my 3-minute mark.
We won't throw you out.
I seriously want to thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. And I speak for every pastor in the area, well, all pastors who have any sense anyway, to say how thankful we are that the city council would recognize a spiritual component to all this. I hope I can speak for them all in saying that you recognize this element in the world that what we call theologically common grace, which is this idea that maybe you've heard this Bible verse, that the God of the Bible showers his rain on the just and the unjust. He is kind to both believers and unbelievers, and he gives all people the good things in his world to enjoy. So this is the common grace we come together with, and this is what we're all here for today, to make a better city. We want our city, we want the welfare of our city. We're all concerned about that. There's a verse in Jeremiah that speaks of this whole idea of common grace is all throughout the Bible. But in Jeremiah, it says this: God says to those people, whatever city I put you in, work for the welfare of that city. And that's what we're really doing. And God tells his people in another verse in Micah, it says, act justly, do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. Now, I'm not one to deny all the foibles and faults of the church, but I will say this: when God's church is functioning in a local community the way it should be functioning, then God's people are salt and light in that community. And the idea there is there are preservation in the community. And there's this idea then that we're preserving the moral fiber, the values and the things. And I'll just quote George Bailey, which is Jimmy Stewart's character from It's a Wonderful Life, where he says, doesn't it make them better citizens? And that's the idea of the welfare of the city. When we're better citizens, we inspire other people to be better citizens, and that's the whole goal of what we're all coming here today for, or this evening, for the welfare of the city. Now I'll just take one moment and say a very short prayer for you all tonight. Father, I do thank you for these members of the city council, and my prayer is that you'd give them wisdom to act in a way that would benefit all the citizens of this community of Menifee, and I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you again
so
for having
much
me.
for your great words. We appreciate that. All right, we are now on item 4. This is Pledge of Allegiance. One of our traditions is to choose somebody from the audience to lead us in our flag salute. And we have a good friend to the city and a very good friend to his Sun Meadows community, and that's Bill Seaton. So, Bill, do you mind leading us in our flag salute? Yes. Let's all stand.
Ready? Begin.
All right, thank you so much. We are on item 5 now. This is our presentations. I'm going to ask the council to please come up to the front because there's 5 presentation items. 4 of them we're going to do up front. So if we can do so, and I see Mr. Reinhardt's here. So go ahead, Mikey, you can get started while we come up to the front.
All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and City Council and all of our community members here today. So I am Michael Reinhardt. I'm the Community Services Coordinator for the City of Menifee. I oversee all our youth programs, so tiny tots to teens and everything in between. And one of the greatest parts of my job is getting to see all the amazing teens that we have in our community. So a few years ago, we started a program called the Menifee Teen Awards. to highlight all the amazing things that teens are doing in our community. So this year, we have been sponsored by the Lake Menifee Women's Club, and I'd like to invite Gloria Sanchez, Anne Marie Novak, and Jennifer Wentz up to the front to help us award these teens this evening. So tonight we are awarding 3 outstanding teens in our community in 3 different award categories. We have our All-Star Athlete, Inspiring Academic, and our Outstanding Citizen. These Menifee teens were nominated by their teachers or peers or council members or any members of the community for this award. And through the sponsorship of Lake Menifee Women's Club, they will be receiving a $100 gift card, and they will all be eligible to win Menifee Teen of the Year at the end of the year, eligible to win a $500 gift card. So we're super excited to award these teens. So we're going to go ahead and get started first with our All-Star Athlete. And this season's winner is Benicio Sevilla from Paloma Valley High School, a 12th grader.
So somehow we got to let you in. All right, Benicio, congratulations.
And as we're kind of getting some pictures up here, I'm just going to read a little blurb. He was nominated by his teacher, and just a little bit of what was said about him. Benny is a multi-sport athlete playing on the varsity team for both basketball and volleyball, where he has earned all league honors and a Wildcat Student Athlete Award with a 4.0 GPA. He juggles his sports, clubs, and academics, overcoming any obstacles that are presented to him. Benny displays leadership and sets a positive example for his peers, which has led him to being nominated as Homecoming Leader of the Pack. Additionally, he has participated in fundraisers to help raise money for youth basketball training camps. And overall, Benny is a respectful, optimistic, ambitious, responsible, and embodies our school motto. So congratulations to Benicio on this well-deserved award.
Benny, come on back real fast. Wait. Careful behind. Yeah. We're going to do a photo together here. All right, and real fast, Benny, what are your words of inspiration and what is the secret to your success?
Just gotta work hard, have a strong work ethic, and you keep at it and keep optimistic, then you can do anything.
Perfectly said. Congratulations.
All right, our next category is the Inspiring Academic category, and this season's winner is Alfredo Chavez from Paloma Valley High School, a senior. And Alfredo was nominated by multiple teachers and counselors at school. And here's a little bit of what they had to say about him. Alfredo is an amazing student who has completed the most college credits on campus and will have a total of 46 by graduation. He is a first-generation student that is resilient with a remarkable work ethic. Alfredo has become a positive role model to other students and counsels his peers and supports them when they struggle with the rigor of college. He maintains a 3.8 GPA and has been on the principal's honor roll since sophomore year. He aspires to be a doctor and is the vice president of HOSA, a club on campus for future health professionals. Alfredo is an amazing person and student who always has a smile on his face and brightens everyone's day. He tries to put everyone before himself and helps any way he can and is very deserving to be recognized for this teen award. So congratulations to Alfredo.
I may just shout loud. You sound like you have the makings of a future mayor of Menifee, and I would vote for you. Do you have any words of inspiration or anything you want to share?
I just say be happy.
All right, our final winner this evening is our Outstanding Citizen Award, and this season's winner is Eliza Lazaro from Paloma Valley High School, a senior. And Eliza was also nominated by multiple teachers and counselors at school, and here's a little bit of what they had to say about her. Eliza is by far one of the most impactful individuals on campus and in our community. She is part of many clubs on campus, including Avid, Link Crew, Interact Club, Latin Culture Club, and Planet Paloma, just to name a few. One of Eliza's most commendable aspects of her journey has been her approach to building connections with teachers and peers. She always has a smile on her face and goes out of her way to spread kindness to all. In addition to her outstanding contributions on campus, Eliza is also president of the Youth Leaders of Menifee, where she has been a dynamic leader. She is a familiar face at many city events and programs and has accumulated more than 300 hours of community service. Her joyful attitude is truly inspiring, and there is no one better or more deserving to be honored with this award. So congratulations, Eliza.
Okay, so folks, if you don't mind, turn around, take a look back here. She's got a fan club, and they are all supporting Eliza. But that just goes to show how much her peers appreciate her positive attitude and all the great things that she does for our youth. She's the president of Youth Leaders of Menifee, and we have all recognized her bubbly spirit and just excitement that she brings to the program. So, Eliza, thank you for everything you do. This is well done. Do you want to share any words of encouragement?
Absolutely. Oh God. Okay. Failure is a step closer to success. So you have to fail and persevere in order for you to succeed.
All right, you guys, well said. Let's tighten up and take a photo together. All right, one more time for Eliza.
All right, we want to congratulate all three of our Teen Award winners. In addition to the $100 prize that they won tonight, they're all eligible to win Teen of the Year at the end of the year, which is a $500 prize sponsored by Lake Menifee Women's Club. And if you know an outstanding teen in the community, nominations are now open for our spring season. So you can nominate there at www.cityofmenifee.us/YLM if you would like to nominate an outstanding teen that you know. So again, we want to congratulate everyone, and thank you.
All right, well done, Mikey. All right, next up, we are on our next presentation item, and some of you may know that each month a council member gets to choose someone from the community to be awarded and recognized as Outstanding Citizen of the Month. This month belongs to Councilman Carwin. He made an excellent suggestion with Gail McCracken, so we're going to have her come up and come right here. I'm going to trade places with Bob because this was his selection. He's going to share why he chose her.
We shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. You know what? When you're looking for Citizen of the Month, it's amazing when you don't have to look very far. You know, and we got an email from Bill Seaton, who was the first to nominate Gail, but it was kind of a no-brainer anyway. When you just see this kind of support and basically somebody who represents everything that we look for in citizens here in Menifee, just a mentor, a support figure, somebody who's a leader and who doesn't ask for anything in return, is just inspirational, and I hope that everyone in this community will see you and learn from you and follow in your footsteps and maybe take some of the burden off you in the future by taking over some of the hundreds of things you're doing, helping the veterans, helping our seniors, helping every aspect of the community. So it's just, if you can think of it, she's been involved, and it's just fantastic, and we're so thrilled to be able to recognize all of your accomplishments. Thank you for everything you've done. We do have a little certificate for you. I'm going to read this to you, and then we're going to pass it down the line so everybody else can say nice things about you. It says, in recognition of your outstanding dedication and invaluable contributions to the Menifee community, your tireless efforts as activities chairperson of the Sun Meadow Social Club, compassionate initiatives such as birthday and anniversary sing-along gang, the coffee klatch gatherings, and the buddy program exemplify your unparalleled commitment to the community. Your unwavering support for veterans through collaboration with MilVets reflects generosity and empathy. The Menifee City Council commends you on your endless, selfless dedication. So I'm going to start off by passing the microphone over to our Mayor Pro Tem, Dean Dinas.
I just want to say congratulations. It was a great pick. I think, we have so many of your type here in the city that are out here volunteering. And I know you don't do it for this moment here. You do it because of the love for your community. And that's the most important thing. So congratulations. You really, really deserve it.
Well said. One of my favorite quotes is from Ronald Reagan. He says, there's no limit to what a person can accomplish if they don't mind who gets the credit. And Gail is one of those people because I see her doing lots and lots of things, and I say, hey, these people should know about what you're doing. She's like, I like being behind the scenes and just getting it done. How many of you are here because Gail is going to receive this award? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Carwin and I always appreciate when you invite us to come and speak to the group. We still have heartburn from the last chili cook-off. But anyway, it's just a real joy, and it's heartwarming to see great people like Gail be recognized, and to have your community benefit from people like her, and efforts from Bill and all of those that roll up their sleeves and do everything they can. So this is a great recognition. Great choice, Councilman Carwin. Yes.
We'll pass it down to Councilman Estrada.
Gail, we have 115,000 residents here, and today is your special day. We are recognizing you as the Citizen of the Month, and we appreciate everything that you do. If we look out here at everyone, they're all here for you. This council is here for you. The city staff is all here for you. Look at all the doors you have opened up for so many people. You have put others ahead of yourself, and the city appreciates that, and I would like to say thank you for making Menifee a little bit brighter.
That was beautifully said. I just want to say congratulations, Gail. And I can tell that you love a lot of people, because there's a lot of people here tonight showing love to you. And as it's been said, we enjoy recognizing people like you who truly make a difference. You are an unsung hero in the city of Menifee. So thank you for making a difference in your community.
Thank you. You're sung now. Gail, would you please give us a little bit of your wisdom and insight and what it means to you?
I always tell them I don't need the microphone.
The people at home can't hear you without the microphone.
Oh, they can't hear me.
Are you going to yell all the way out to the city?
Okay. Well, first, every night when I go to bed, I say my prayers, and I thank God for 5 things that day. And I ask him, one thing is to help me be able to keep doing. I'm going to be 79 in 7 more days. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to still stand and do things. And it was a blessing. MilVets here and Raven, we sent 438 cards with messages to our soldiers serving this year. Last year we did 300 some. So next year we're going to do 500, or this at the end. And we had a Christmas tree with all the tags on. They got wish lists, and every single name on that tree was taken this year. So I'm only as good as my community. They have supported me. The firemen came and did the chili cook-off. You guys were there the one time and did it. Bill Seaton I told him he's the one that should be up here, not me. And he does so much for our community. And I'm just blessed because the people, so many of the board members are here, so many that have done things in our community. And I just do it because I've lived there 22 years, and I love most of them. Most of them. There's 1 or 2 maybe, but I even would do for those. And so we've been able to collect wheelchairs and crutches and shower chairs and depends, and thanks to Raven. And then anybody that needs it, they give us a call and we can give it to them. And everything, the sing-along gang, we've done over 1,800 in case you guys didn't know. So we do that every Saturday and we sing happy anniversary. We call the people out. So I'm so blessed because I look good because of all of them. Thank you. And you're never too late. I got engaged this year. Can I just say one more thing? I don't need that. I've been doing these coffee patches since before you became a city, and some of the ones that are still on the council were there that time. And so, thank you for honoring all of Sun Meadows through me. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Okay, we have next up our 5.3. This is our business spotlight. I see Kayla coming up. We are going to be honoring Black Bear Diner, so I'll turn it over to Ms. Charters.
Thank you. Good evening. Once a month, we highlight one of our businesses that give back to the community. So this month, we are thrilled to be honoring Black Bear Diner, who goes above and beyond the call of business. So just to give a little bit about Black Bear Diner, they opened in May in 2023, and it's owned by Amit Singh and Parth Mehta, and they are proud to be part of the Menifee community. While delicious food draws visitors to the diner, the bear-themed decor and friendly staff never fail to please both new and regular customers. The extensive menu caters to all tastes, spanning from fluffy pancakes to burgers and refreshing salads. Black Bear's dedication to the Menifee goes beyond serving just delicious food. They partner with our Menifee PD and hosted the very first Breakfast with Badges. They've also collaborated with the Menifee Valley Chamber of Commerce and participated in the Menifee State of the City address and the Taste of Menifee event. So with that, I am happy to welcome up the business managers Juan Hernandez and Salvador Santiago. And we could also play the video.
Black Bear Diner started with a simple idea. A place to connect, share a warm cup of coffee, and savor food that warms your soul. We serve up comforting classics made fresh in our kitchen every day. Whatever you're craving, we've got something for everyone. And here's the best part, breakfast served all day. Like us, Menifee's a city built on community, and we're proud to be part of a place that shares our values. Black Bear Diner, where good food and good company come together.
So we have Juan and Santiago, right? And we just wanted to congratulate you on this Business Spotlight Award. How many of you have been to Black Bear Diner? And how many of you love it? Look at, they all liked it. I do too, and I know we all do too. I remember when Coco's left and everybody panicked. What are we going to do? And you guys picked up the ball and you ran it into the end zone. And so we're just very, very pleased to have Black Bear Diner in our city. Thank you for choosing Menifee for your business. This is for you to place on your wall there in the office or wherever you want to display it at the restaurant, in the lobby. That's even better, because you are the recipients this month, and it's our way of saying thank you for everything you do, and we wish you many, many years of success. All the council members came to the Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting, and it was just a really nice event. Thank you guys for everything you do. I'm going to offer you the opportunity if you want to share a few words with the audience. It's up to you.
We just want to say thank you so much, and we are very happy to be part of this great city. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, let's do a photo together. All right, congratulations. We appreciate you both. Okay, next up we have our fourth item. This is 5.4. We are going to be recognizing our division chief, Lonnie Olson, who is here, and our city manager would like to say a few words. Lonnie, we're going to miss you, buddy. I think we also have our deputy chief, Vike, with us as well. Is that right? And yeah, so come on up, you guys. Let's all get together. I'm going to turn it over to, yes, good to see you. Good to see you, Mr. Scoville. So, I'm going to turn it over to our city manager because he has been working side by side with Lonnie for a couple of years now, and I know he's going to miss working with Lonnie as much as we're going to miss having you giving us updates and presentations and taking care of us. In the city of Menifee, our number one priority is public safety. That's police and fire. And our CAL FIRE partnership has just done a wonderful job, and we appreciate all of the team, but we appreciate your leadership too. But I'm going to turn it over to Armando because I know he wants to share a few words. So let's trade places.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to take a little bit of time to recognize Lonnie Olson. He was our fire chief. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. So I want to take a little bit of time to recognize our fire chief Olson. Chief Olson has been a firefighter since 1995. I think he was 5 years old when he started, right? Yeah, he actually started his career at Station 68 here in Menifee, and he has been doing it for 29 years. In 2001, I was actually privileged to be part of his interview panel when he was selected to be our fire chief here at Menifee. And he stood above the rest when he got the job, and we were very happy to have him here. He was very instrumental here in Menifee. That since day one, he took control, and he was very instrumental in helping us assess our needs. He delivered a fire truck, ladder truck, and then one of the problems we were having, as you all know, our paramedic truck is a very busy apparatus truck. And he helped us procure and secure a second paramedic unit. So very instrumental in making sure that we did what we could to reduce response times in our community. And we wanted to take the time to appreciate and wish him good luck on his new endeavor. We wanted to present him a certificate of recognition on behalf of the city for the good work he did here in Menifee. So Lonnie, we want to present you with a certificate to hang on your wall in your new office, wherever it is. We don't know. And thank you so much for your service. And I want to make sure that our council members have a chance to wish you good luck too. Thank you.
I'm on the end. I guess I'll go first. Chief, it's been fantastic working with you. You really set the tone for what a department should look like and how it should operate. And I'll reiterate what the city manager said. Can't thank you enough for everything you did, helping us get that second paramedic unit, just bringing safety to parts of the city where we were lacking. And the citizens of the city of Menifee really owe a debt of gratitude for your service here. Thank you so much.
I think the city manager just read your whole resume, what you've done since you've been here in Menifee, but I want to thank you personally for that, because I think with your leadership, you gave some stability and some confidence in our fire department. And I appreciate that, and I thank you for that.
That was well said, Mayor Pro Tem. And I'll just add, I've noticed your professionalism. I think that's probably one of the top boxes with your style, and I know that your team follows your leadership. You're setting an example as a role model, and that professionalism is something that goes a long way. So thank you for bringing that to our team.
Lonnie, I really enjoyed getting to know you and the time you were here. I always learned something new every time I was in your presence. We took tours together of the fire stations, and it was an eye-opening experience for me. One of the things, or a couple of things that stand out for me is under your watch, we improved response times. One, we were able to secure more medical and paramedic assistance for our senior community. Sun City is the busiest the busiest area for Riverside County Fire, and he was overseeing all of that. And so with response times improving, and your leadership, and Menifee has a lot of rural areas, as you know, and under his watch, all those fires got put out very quickly, and he did a great job. So thank you, Lonnie, and I wish you the best on all your future endeavors.
As it's been said, I'm the last one tonight, but it's true what I've heard, your leadership, your response time and professionalism. Reducing those response times was very important to us as a city council. As the mayor mentioned, public safety is our top priority as a city council. I want to thank you for taking me out to the base when we had that major fire over at the dam, and you took me on a tour. And one thing that I'll never forget is you took me to the air station. And because you took me to the air station, I got to see a very special firefighter who's no longer with us. And so I wish you the best in the cities that you'll be taking care of. I know you'll do a great job. And just wish you all the luck. And hang this on your wall proudly.
I will. Well, truly an honor to serve Menifee. They put a lot on me as if I did it solely by myself, but it was the entire team within the city, from the city council's level of engagement in public safety. As they said, it was their #1 priority. That makes life really easy on a fire chief. From the leadership that was offered from the city manager and the rest of the executive staff, they kept me afloat for sure. And you have an extremely talented set of department heads. That was a lot of fun to work with that team and the entire city staff. Have confidence. All of your firefighters in the field are exceptional, as well as your fire marshal's office that are there in the back. You have an exceptional team here within the city. And lastly, as I hand it off to my good friend Mark Scoville, we have been attached at the hip pretty much our entire careers. So it was very easy for me to hand it off with confidence that you will continue to not only receive the same level of service, but see improvements within that level of service. And to the community of Menifee, your level of engagement is incredible and something exciting to see. So thank you too.
All right, so we can head back behind the dais for our final presentation.
We should have done Gail's award at the end.
And then there were 3. All right, great. So we're on our final presentation item, and this one is our community services update. And I see Ms. Mitchell is here, so the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mariana Mitchell, Community Services Manager with the Community Services Department, here to provide information on what's going on in our department in the next month or so. So starting off with our recreation programs, we've got a number of programs and activities available for residents of all ages at our Case and Sarah Senior Center for those that are 55 and better. We have the return of our transportation workshop, monthly food box program, and tech time with staff for those of you who might need some assistance on learning how to get that iPhone or email or Facebook up and going. We have dedicated time for staff to assist with that. One thing I do want to point out here is we do have a new walking program if anybody's looking for an opportunity to get fit in a nice and easy way. We have our Walk with Ease program, which is in partnership with the National Recreation Park Association, NRPA, who awarded the City of Menifee a grant to help promote walking as a way to get healthy, get exercise without having to worry about injuring yourself. So we're encouraging anybody who's interested to come on down to the Case and Sarah Senior Center. Sessions will start on Monday, March 25th at 8:30 a.m. Also, we have the return of resource table days at the Case and Sarah Senior Center for Veterans. So this Thursday, March 21st at 11 a.m., we will have VA aid information. So if anybody who's looking for that type of information, you're welcome to come on down, and we can definitely point you in the right direction as far as the number of resources that are available. As far as Lazy Creek Recreation Center, we're gearing up for spring break. We do have a spring break camp that's available to youth ages kindergarten through fifth grade. We are limited in space, and so as of this morning, I believe we had 5 spots left. So if anybody's interested, I encourage you to sign up early, as well as a field trip that goes along with the camp, and then our teen trip for the Padres game, Monday, April 1st. So lots of fun things happening within the next month. Next, we'll move on to some of our upcoming events. So this Saturday, we hope the residents will come out and join us at Underwood Park for our annual Spring Fest, where we'll have a number of egg hunts for our residents of all ages, all-inclusive egg hunt, food, games. I believe there's going to be jumpers out there, pictures with Peter Rabbit. So we encourage everybody to come on out. Event starts at 9 a.m. The very first hunt will start at 9 a.m. But we have an opportunity, if you miss that one, you can join us at a later hunt. So we've got 2 different time slots for each age range. And also the very next week, we have the return of our Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans event, which is going to be held on Thursday, March 28th at Paloma Valley High School. This is in partnership with Paris Union High School, Paloma Valley High School, who've really taken ownership on wanting to ensure that we don't forget about our Vietnam veterans. We give them the opportunity to celebrate them coming home, and then also educate future generations on what occurred during this time frame. So it'll be at 10 a.m., welcome reception with a formal ceremony at 10:30 a.m. Moving on, in April, we've got our Menifee Multicultural Festival, which will be returning. This also will be held at Underwood Park on April 13th, starting at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We've got food and vendors and entertainment of all cultures in and around Menifee, and we're really excited to bring this back, especially because Underwood Park has a lot of history here in Menifee, and we want to be able to highlight that. So Multicultural Festival, really looking forward to that event. And then we also have the return of our campfire series. So this is our Menifee Park Rangers get the opportunity to share stuff about environmental stewardship, stuff about nature and communing with nature. So this is back, and this will be held on Saturdays at Lazy Creek Park, starting with the next one on March 30th. So we have very specific dates, and we do encourage residents who are interested in participating in this to register online on the city website, so cityofmenifee.us/register. And in order to make sure that we got enough supplies, especially when it comes to those s'mores. Those tend to go quick. And I believe that concludes my report for today. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Love to see all these great events. It's all part of our social infrastructure, so well done. Council members, do we have any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, thank you so much for your presentation. We are now on item 6. This is agenda approval or modifications. Madam Clerk, do we have any modifications to our agenda tonight?
No modifications.
All right, thank you. Council members, all in favor of approving tonight's agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, our agenda is approved, and we're now on item 7. This is public comments on non-agenda items. It's the time for members of the public to address the council about items that are not listed on the agenda. The Brown Act limits the council's ability to respond to those comments when they're made, and each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes on any single item. And note, there will be a timer clock on the screen. So, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
Not on agenda.
Okay, so then let's move on to council member updates and comments, and I'll start on my right, which is Councilman Carwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one thing to report. Councilmember Estrada and I last night had the opportunity to meet with our Menifee PD Police Officers Association, do a little meet and greet. It's been a while since I've had an opportunity to meet with the new board and the members there. I just get to hear kind of a state of the city from them. It's great to get their feedback and say hi and get to see the newly refurbished Sandals Church location all built out in there by Pastor Rocky. It looks fantastic, and that's all I got.
All right, very good. And when was that one?
That was just last night.
Last night. Okay, very good. Thank you. Councilmember Estrada.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yesterday I went to the Police Officer Association's meeting as well, and we lent open ear there to hear all of their the important topics to them. And so, yeah, we support our police and we have an open ear to them. On March 12th, I went to the Quail Valley Community Meeting, made myself available to my constituents over there in District 2. And on March 14th, I went to the Cal Cities Regional update, and a couple updates that I got that I think would be beneficial to share with the public. There was an update on waste management and how they are going to enforce their new SB law, which looks for you to dispose of your waste differently. And they're going to start rolling out a soft, I don't know how to say it exactly, but they're going to start sending out warnings probably this summer is the way I understood it. And by June or July, they might start sending out fines if we do not dispose of our trash properly. Now, I want to remind the public that is a state-mandated law, not something the city council has pushed forward. And the way, now you may be asking now, how are they going to enforce it? How are they going to know what I'm putting in my trash? Well, from what they shared with me, they have 3 different cameras. One will be a panoramic shot outside of the trash disposal, and a couple others will be actually inside the trash. When your lid flips open, there will be photos and recordings of what you put in your trash, and then those photos get sent to their corporate offices where 2 people will review the photos and give a human perspective on what they see in the images. Now, I just want to reemphasize, they are going to start off with warnings at first, and then as we get into the summer, be more strict with the law. The second thing that I wanted to share from Cal Cities is the Riverside County group is having discussions with the San Bernardino County group that represents Cal Cities, and a lot of the cities are realizing, hey, these state mandates coming down are difficult to combat when we are individually as individual cities fighting them. So there is discussions about, being a little bit more collective on how we address mandates coming from the state and different divisions and counties partnering together to fight back against the state. So that is all I have.
Okay, very good. Thanks for your presentation. Madam Councilmember Sobek. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of pictures that I would like to share. One of them is that I attended, and I don't know why I didn't see any of the other council members there, the International Day of Women. But it was the first one held in Southwest Riverside County. It was actually it was inspirational. We got to hear panelists from women of science, women of public safety, and then there was a women in politics. And to hear their stories, it was inspiring, and I expect to see this grow in our area. So I just want to thank, I think it was Councilmember Lori Stone who led this, and all the proceeds went to a nonprofit in the city of Marietta. So it's something to look forward to in the future. I see it growing. I did want to give a shout out for Menifee Better Together. If you haven't put it on your calendar, put it on your calendar. It's a day we come together as a city, April 27th, 4th Saturday of April. This will be about the 12th year we'll be doing this in the city of Menifee. This year, there are 10 different projects that people can sign up for. And everything from helping Habitat for Humanity with the senior revitalization homes, down to flower pot planting for the wee little children to teach them about giving back to their community, welcome bags with our police department for the Yana program. We're revitalizing the garden at the Case and Acero Center. They need volunteers for that. Some of the historical monuments will be clean, and the Menifee History Museum, the Boys and Girls Club, the Menifee Rural Center, and KBM Park is having its bulky item pickup free. So volunteers are needed. In the years past, we've had up to about 700 and 800 volunteers. Organizations and businesses can come together and sponsor a home, and we just love to see you all out there. My last report that I'm going to share is going to be a little short video, and it is about our Menifee Adopt a Street program. I want to say congratulations to our first group of people who volunteered to adopt a street, and they are actually city employees. So I just want to give a shout out to Patrick Stevens and Peter McGulan. I'm not sure if I said it correctly, and then Jonathan Oka. And I just want to thank them. They're out there standing by the street sign. They decided to adopt the street here on Hahn that goes all the way around. We call it the donut hole. And so if you are an organization or a business or individual or church group or nonprofit and you're looking to give back to the community, it's a very nice program. You only have to do it 4 times a year. Our Public Works Department supplies all the materials that you would need. And if you're interested, for those hearing out in our TV land and social media, you can go to Public Works at cityofmenifee.us and sign up to adopt a street. That's all I have.
Okay, very good. And Mayor Pro Tem Dinas.
I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
All right, this is a quick one. This is since our last meeting on March 6th. On March 8th, I visited 3 classrooms at Oak Meadows Elementary School. There was a TK classroom, a first grade class, and a 4th grade class. And we talked about local government so that they can kind of understand how their city council functions here, along with our city manager and how things get done by his team. And then on Sunday the 10th, I was a docent at our History Museum. And then that day, council members, I presented on behalf of all of us a certificate from the city that recognized the 50th anniversary of the Sun City Twirlers. They're a square dance club over there since 1974, and so it's great to honor them. And they're still going strong. On Monday the 11th, there was a mayor's fireside chat that was held at WellQuest Senior Living. Wanted to thank Anne Marie Novak. She's in the audience. She joined me. She's representing our senior advisory committee, and it was a really nice event, and they had a lot of great questions and got to learn about great new things that are happening in our city. On Tuesday the 12th, I visited a 4th grade class at Ridgemore Elementary School. Very similar message with them, and it's neat to see 4th graders how engaged they are in how their city works. And then later, there was a chamber mixer at the 9th Shield in Sun City that I attended that day on the 12th. On the 13th, there was a RCTC commission, and then I zipped back to Menifee from downtown Riverside to attend Santa Rosa Academy's Innovation Expo, and Councilman Estrada was there, and I got to view some displays of many of the students there's projects that they had, and Councilman Estrada's classroom did. Why don't you share a little bit more about it, Rufus? Yeah, so it was kind of the Capitol building, and you can look inside and see all the offices and who does what, so it was a great project. And I just say hats off to all of those students at Santa Rosa Academy. They really get engaged and do a great job. On Thursday the 14th, I attended our Rotary Club meeting. We had representatives from the Ontario Airport to kind of come and share some of the new things that are happening there. On Saturday the 16th, there was a history program about the Wright family that was on the south end of our city up in the hills back in the 1930s. And there's a rock house up there. For some of you who like to go mountain biking, you might have been there. And then I attended a community engagement forum at Cherry Hills to talk about the Cherry Hills golf changes there, and it was held at the Greek Theater by the Civic Association. There was about 200 people that attended. I was pretty impressed. But I was there to listen. On Monday, the 18th, there was a Southwest Higher Ed Coalition. It's kind of the fundraising committee for the group that's putting together, hopefully, a four-year college in serving this region. On Tuesday, the 19th, which I believe was yesterday, was a chamber mixer at Nothing Bundt Cakes in the morning, and hats off to Carol and her team over there. They're just great citizens and great business in our community. I wanted to make two announcements so the council is aware. There is a project that's over at Craig and Antelope called Adler Ranch. It is a homes that you can rent coming soon, and they have a community room that's for the residents there, but originally that property was homesteaded by Hans Christensen, and so I provided some photographs and displays for their residents to be placed in there, and that's done. So if you guys get a chance and you're driving by there, you can pull in and go and see that the Christensen family is being honored so that the residents can know who the pioneers were in their neighborhood over 100 years ago. And then finally, I wanted to announce, and Raven was here earlier, but we all know her from Milvet, but she was honored recently by our county supervisor, District 3, Chuck Washington, as his Woman of the Year. She's also a Menifee resident, and I think we can honor her. Chuck Washington said he's available at our next council meeting, April 3rd, and so is Raven, so if the council doesn't mind, maybe we can also honor her and have Chuck come and explain why he chose her as his Woman of the Year. So that is my updates and announcements. If anybody else has anything else they want to add? All right, hearing none, let's jump back into our agenda. We are now on item 9. This is the approval of the minutes from January 17, 2024. If there's no revisions or changes, council members all in favor of approving those minutes, would you please say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that's approved unanimously, our minutes from January 17th. All right, we're on item 10 now. This is our consent calendar. I'm going to read a brief statement. All matters on the consent calendar are to be approved in one motion unless a council member requests a separate action on a specific item on the consent calendar. If the item is removed from the consent calendar, it will be discussed individually and acted upon separately. Unless otherwise directed by a member of the City Council, the vote on ordinance adoptions will reflect the prior action of each council member when that ordinance was introduced. However, if a council is not present at the City Council meeting, the vote will be reflected as absent. That being said, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on our consent calendar agenda?
No request to speak.
All right. I should ask that first before I read all that. All right. Council members, do we have any items that we'd like to pull for separate discussion?
10.6 for a separate vote.
Any others?
10.7 about the agreement with the parking lot and the Justice Center.
All right. Any others, council members? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the balance?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's go ahead and cast our votes. Okay, those items that remained in consent passed unanimously. We are now going to go ahead and discuss our first pulled item. This is 10.6, the second reading for the increase in compensation for members of the council. Councilman Carwin, did you want to report or did you have a comment? Or?
No, I voted no on it the first time, and I just wanted to have a separate vote, and so it would be clear for a second time around when we do the final vote. So I don't need a report. I just didn't want, I didn't want to muck up the consent calendar by throwing in a vote like that. And I don't know if anybody wanted to change their vote from the first time.
Okay, so Mr. Melching, maybe you can help us. This is a second reading on the item, and if the council member chooses to modify or change their first vote from last time, is that right?
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with having pulled the item. Our rules are that if it's not pulled, the vote on the second reading will be the same as the vote on the first reading. But it's certainly appropriate, now that it has been pulled, it's appropriate for another vote.
Well, if that's the case, then, I didn't know, but we had some discussion on the first time around, and I think it was a 3-2 vote. If anybody wanted to change their vote, that would be the opportunity, but since I'm the one who pulled it and I don't want to change my vote, I can withdraw it and just approve the item, move to approve the item as voted previously.
As the second reading of, okay.
Did I miss it, though? I think you already voted on the balance of the consent agenda. Yeah, so you need to vote again anyway.
All right. So seeing no, does anybody have any additional comment on this one?
I don't wish to change my vote.
All right, then I'll move to approve the item.
Okay, and I'll second. And that passed unanimously. So let's move to our next pulled item. Councilmember Sobek asked to pull item 10.7. This is the agreement with the Judicial Council for overflow parking at the city's Civic Center parking lot. Councilmember Sobek, what's your pleasure on this?
Yeah, we've had and have heard comments from the public in regards to parking. So I just wanted the parking explained a little bit, how many spaces are there, and how this is going to work with the Justice Center, and vice versa, how we will be able to use some of their parking when we have city events. So if you could just share.
Absolutely.
I know there were some pictures in the staff report. I was having trouble actually with my iPad, and it kept crashing on me. So if you can pull those up.
All right, welcome, Ms. Kramer.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the time, and thank you for the question, Councilmember Sobek. Just to give a brief explanation, as the new Justice Center opens, scheduled to open this June, they have sought to allow for overflow parking, so they have adequate parking within their parking lot to serve the Justice Center, but want to make sure that they have overflow parking so that all of that is not consolidated solely along the streets around the Justice Center, and help to relieve some congestion, and have sought to have a reciprocal parking agreement with the city, in which case that they will be able to use the new parking lot that we will be constructing that will serve our central park location with the new amphitheater, as well as our future City Hall site. They would be utilizing those during daytime business hours, is when they would be having those visitors to the Justice Center that need overflow parking have access during business hours when we are not utilizing the parking lot as heavily. And then they will be allowing us as the city, when we have events after hours, evenings and weekends, to utilize their parking lot to serve patrons of our parks and activities that we are hosting at Central Park and the amphitheater. So it is a reciprocal parking agreement intended to serve both the city and residents, as well as patrons of the Judicial Center when it opens.
Okay, and so they're planning on opening it in June. Our parking lot hasn't even been constructed yet.
So to start with, so there is that open pad area where we are not going to be constructing the parking lot. Right now, it is simply a dirt lot that will serve as our future City Hall location. In the interim, as part of that reciprocal parking agreement, we will allow them to allow patrons that need overflow parking to park on that dirt lot, as we do now for events and the like. We will allow them to use that during business hours until such time as the new parking lot is fully constructed.
And can you tell me total together how many parking spaces that we're going to be looking at when we're able to use their facility for our events?
So I can confirm that number for you. I'm sorry, I didn't have that up in front of me, but we're going to have over about 300 parking stalls ultimately with the new Civic Center parking lot that they would have that will be available. They've sought to, as part of the reciprocal parking agreement, utilize about 100 of those parking stalls during business hours when we're not utilizing that space. And then they will be working to develop reciprocal parking agreements with other surrounding businesses in the future and the long term as we look to move into a future city hall, and we'll be more actively utilizing that space. So that they will be looking for that in the interim. So this is an interim solution for them. The agreement can be terminated with 30 days notice by either party. So it's an understanding that it's a temporary measure, and then they'll be looking at other alternatives for the long term.
Okay, and one more question. Do we have an estimated time of when our future parking lot will be finished, completed?
So once they start construction, it'll be about a year's period of time, about 9 months until they fully construct it. So by the end of this calendar year is the target time frame, or early part of next year.
Okay, thank you very much for answering my questions.
Thank
So
you.
I move that we pass 10.7.
I'll second that. Those were all good questions. All right, and so that item passed unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Kramer. Let's move on now to item 11. This is our first public hearing item. It's our item 11.1 is our Cimarron Ridge specific plan, and I see Mr. Hernandez is here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm happy to be here to present the following item. This is an item that was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. There you go. Okay, the item before you tonight, it's a specific plan amendment for the Cimarron Ridge specific plan. A little bit of background. The specific plan was originally approved back in 2015. It's a 240-acre site for 756 single-family homes. The council in June 2017 also approved the development agreement for the project. A couple years ago, the applicant came in to propose an amendment to the specific plan. Also an amendment to the approved tentative map that was approved along with the specific plan, and also to amend the DA to be consistent with the proposed modifications that they were requesting. On February 28th, the Planning Commission voted 4-0 to recommend to the City Council to approve the request by the applicant for the various proposals. The project, as you know, it's located on the northwest portion of the city, south of McLaughlin, east of Getz Road. It's highlighted in red. Just for council's information, the specific plan is currently under construction. Planning areas 1, 2, and 3 are currently under construction. The amendment only affects 3 of the planning areas, which is planning area number 4, 5, and 6, which is on the northern part of the SP. Both the general plan and the zoning is consistent. Obviously, it's a Cimarron Ridge specific plan. A little bit about the project description. Obviously, 3 different requests. I'll go in a little bit more detail on the following slides. One is the amendment to the SP that makes the changes from the park and the residential lots. Also, there's a lot of exhibits that need to be modified due to the changes. So some of the exhibits will be modified, updating the numbers, changing the exhibits as well. In regards to the major modification to the tentative map, due to the relocation of the park, the lots will be transferred over to planning area number 5, as well as making some modifications to planning areas 5 and 6 in regards to making those 2 planning areas age restricted, gating those 2 planning areas as well, and making those streets private. Again, the DA is to align all the changes and to make those modifications consistent in terms of the different thresholds as to when the park needs to be completed, as well as the different traffic improvements. Again, real quick, just to highlight again the change. On the left-hand side, it's the current approved specific plan that shows the park on the northern part of the SP. The exhibit to the right shows the relocation of the park, which is more centrally located, which will give residents an easier access, especially if you live in planning area number 1 and number 2. Again, on the northern side, that area it's been redesigned with residential units at the same density. At the end of the day, we have the same number of units, 756, so there's no increase in densities, no increase in lots either. Okay, the following exhibit just shows the modification to the tentative map. Again, the relocation of the park. On the north side, how the new configuration of the lots is going to be. It also shows the location of the gates to gate planning area number 5 and 6. And again, making those streets private. These are the amenities that will be provided for the residents of planning areas 5 and 6. On the left-hand side, it's a smaller amenity that includes a couple of open areas. There's different pickleball courts, walkways. The exhibit to the right shows the bigger amenity that's provided for the communities. That includes the pool. It includes the rec center, open area as well. Various amenities that will serve the residents of planning areas 5 and 6. Again, in regards to the DA amendment, it's to bring the document consistent with the changes proposed with the major modification. Again, the relocation of the park, timing of the construction of the park, and some of the other infrastructure that is needed for the SP. The DA amendment was presented to the Finance Committee back in February, and they recommended approval to the City Council. In regards to the environmental, the city did hire a consultant to help us prepare an addendum to the EIR. An addendum is included in the staff report, and it doesn't show any additional mitigations. Therefore, an addendum is the adequate way to proceed with CEQA. There is an additional condition that staff is recommending. We included a memo in your red folder. Basically, the Planning Commission back in June of last year approved a project immediately south of planning area number 5. And that project, we included a condition to work with the property owner to the north, in this case with Pulte, to make sure that they work together to have just one property wall instead of having 2 double wall situation, to make sure that the grading work as well. So they've been in contact with Pulte. They recently had conversation. Pulte has agreed with the additional condition to just verify that we have a condition that is safe for the residents. So that condition has been added, and it's included in your red folder. With that, staff recommends that the items included in the staff report are approved, and staff is available to answer any questions.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, thank you very much. Council members, do we have any questions of staff? No comments, just questions? Go ahead.
Hey, Orlando. My question is about Getz Road. I've brought this up in the past that Getz Road there to the north, once it heading north towards Ethonac, that the road conditions there are very poor. I noticed now that it's shut down, and I'm interested to find out when it's anticipated that Getz Road will be fully redone and it'll be accessible.
I see our Public Works Director coming over. I think he has some additional information.
Good evening, Councilmember Estrada. Yes, we've been working with the developer. That section of Getz Road had to be taken out of service so they can continue their improvements with Phase 3. There's significant amount of storm drain work and sewer work that needed to be completed for the whole development. They are working towards that. The biggest challenge was getting the existing service the new roads. We have a temporary bypass going down White Quartz to Valley Boulevard and then back into Getz. So the developer is working towards getting into do that section of roadway.
Do we have an estimated time? That way I can tell my constituents
Yeah,
something.
I might ask the developer. Yeah.
Okay. That's a very important roadway. There's only one way in and one way out of Quail Valley, and it's that road. It's a major artery, and it's very important. So please keep a note. Thank you.
Any other questions, council members? All right, hearing none, I'm going to open the public hearing. It is 7:09. Madam Clerk, was this legally noticed, and did we receive any correspondence on this item?
The item was legally noticed and no correspondence has been received.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for the applicant if they'd like to come and share any updates or any additional information with the council members.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Patrick Lynham. I am the Director of Planning and Entitlements at Pulte Homes. I'd like to start by thanking and apologizing to staff. It's been 9 months of questions, emails, revisions to phasing maps, DA, SPA exhibits, acreage, you name it. I probably revised it over 9 months. I'm sure they're as happy to be here as I am, if not happier. Thank you for your patience. I'd like to give special thanks to Cheryl, Nick, Orlando, Jeff, Rebecca, Jonathan. It seems like we were on Teams calls every other day trying to get this DA negotiated. They were reviewing these documents in real time. Without their hard work and dedication, we never would have made the February meeting. So thank you. Also, Desiree, who worked on the amendments and keeping everything organized. It would have been a complete train wreck without her. Of course, Orlando, who put together the presentation and delivered Christmas in March, hopefully by the end of tonight. I'd like to let Councilmember Sobek know that I personally am going with my landscape architect and reviewing all the play structures to make sure that they conform to special needs children. Also making sure the shading structures are adequate for the hot summer months. I've read through the conditions, including the additional condition for Mr. Onifer, who is here today. We accept them as written. Here to answer any questions, I have Michael Brendecki, our civil engineer, and Cameron from Michael Baker as well. Oh, and Councilmember Estrada, the schedule, we're gonna have to get back to you. We have a lot of SCE lines that need to be redone in order to get that. So, as you know, power and SCE is kind of problematic throughout all of California. So I will get something to you shortly.
Mr. Lynham, thank you for being here tonight, and we may have some questions, so stay. Council members, this is the opportunity for us to ask Mr. Lynham any other questions that he might be able to answer or comments.
Yeah, just a comment. I just want to say thank you for taking that comment seriously and to look at all play for the children and residents in our city. So thank you for bringing that to our attention tonight.
All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak from the public on this item?
I did have one, Paul Onifer.
All right, so we'll go ahead and call him Mr. Onifer, right? Are we saying it right?
It's close, Onifer.
Onifer, okay, thank you. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor Zimmerman and fellow councilman Paul Onifer, and we are the applicant for tentative map 38128, which is in the part of the northern portion, or the south of the northern, south of PA 5, I guess. Right. Kind of fills in a portion of the sea, if you look at it that way. And I want to thank staff and Pulte. We had this condition on our map to work with them on this shared grading, so we don't have this kind of no man's land, and we support the project, and we hopefully you guys will adopt the additional condition that we can come to agreement with them shortly. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Onifer, and it means a lot to us that you took your time tonight just to clarify that and commit to that goodwill between two developers, so thank you. Any other questions, council members? I'm going to go ahead and, Madam Clerk, there's nobody else to speak, just to make sure, all right? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and then we can discuss it among ourselves. It is 7:13. I will say that this makes sense to me. I like the fact that the park is being moved centralized. I like that we're adding a gated age-qualified component to it. I mean, that's always something that we always ask for. So you're doing the right thing on this, in my opinion, and so I would fully support this. I don't know, council members, anybody else want to share anything? Yep, go ahead.
I'll just make a motion that
Okay, good.
we approve 11.1.
All right, we have a motion, and I'll second that.
Mayor, do you mind if I introduce the two ordinances?
I'm sorry, I do see that in my list of things to do. So it does say, I guess there's, just so the council knows, we're going to have 4 separate motions. Is that right, Mr. Melching? Or can we do them all together in one?
Trying to stick with that Christmas and March theory, I think if we read the 2 titles of the 2 ordinances, then you can have one motion approving the 2 resolutions and introducing the 2 ordinances.
Okay, very good. So, Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the title of the 2 ordinances.
The first one for consideration is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Menifee approving specific plan amendment number PLN 23-0060, an amendment to the Cimarron Ridge specific plan modifying PA-4, PA-5, and PA-6, located south of McLaughlin Road and east of Getz Road and west of Valley Boulevard within the Menifee, Riverside County, California, APNs 330-0-230-042-043, 330-220-016 and -017. The second ordinance is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Menifee, California, approving an amendment to the Cimarron Ridge Specific Plan Development Agreement number PLN 23-0241 by and between the City of Menifee and Pulte Home Company, LLC.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve both those ordinances together. Is that right?
And the 2 resolutions.
Oh, and we're going to do them all?
Yep.
Okay, very good. I thought we were doing 2 and 2. And the 2 resolutions all together as recommended by staff.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Carwin.
I need you to vote. There it is. And that passed unanimously, so congratulations. We look forward to a great project going forward. All right, let's move on our agenda. We're on item 12 now, discussion items. And the first one, item 12.1, is Sphere of Influence Update. And I'm not sure if we have, Mr. Darnell is here. Okay, great. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. The item before you this evening, pleased to present this item to you. It's an update on the city's sphere, update discussion on sphere of influence. So to start off, kind of give some background since the last time staff was up here and presented to the council, which was in October 2022, where we gave an update on the Local Agency Formation Commission's Municipal Services Review and Sphere of Influence recommendations that they did for the whole county-wide at that time. And at that meeting, you know, we talked about LAFCO recommendations regarding the city working closely with the county towards reaching mutual agreement, as well as with other entities. The council also formed an ad hoc committee to meet with the county and discuss SOI with the county. And also, council expressed interest in potential SOI area involving 1,929 acres, which is essentially the same area that's the county's Sun City, Menifee Valley area plan, east of Briggs Road and the current city limits out to Leon, and roughly Old Newport Road down to Scott Road. And yeah, you can see that area depicted on the right-hand side of the map on the screen here. And so, yeah, I indicated that's roughly 1,900 acres. That area includes approximately 75 large parcels, which make up about 1,500 acres of that larger 1,900. The remainder is Liberty High School, new homes west of Liberty High, and an approved track south of Liberty High, along with a couple other tracks. So I'll give a little timeline of what's happened since our update to the city council in October of 22. The subcommittee, the Sphere of Influence subcommittee, gave an update to council on May 2023. And at that time, the direction was to hold off and continue, I guess, with discussions with the county. On September 6th, the council adopted city-county MOU for coordination of city and county projects, how we're going to, how each entity is going to communicate and coordinate together. December 12, 23, the County Board of Supervisors also adopted the MOU. And then December 22nd, the SOI committee met to discuss status, next steps, and then finally on February 15th of 23, the committee met with Supervisor Washington's office and his staff to reaffirm the city's interest in the SOI and to garner support moving forward. So essentially, this slide, if this council were to choose to move forward with this type of effort, this is what we're looking at in terms of what's involved. A general plan amendment. It's a large undertaking, which would involve CEQA review, likely an EIR, which would need to be done in order to apply to LAFCO for a sphere amendment. We're looking at 12 to 18 months minimum for that process. The cost here can be up to as much as $700,000. We would need to go out with an RFP for consultant services. Looking at June 2024 as probably the earliest possible start date, and then best case submission to LAFCO at the end of 2025. So with that, here's some options for the council to consider. One, direct staff to wait. One of the things that was discussed, of course, previously was Winchester, the county's Winchester Community Plan that's been in the works along with their EIR, which includes really all of the area that's almost all of the area east of us. Or option two, direct staff to pursue a general plan amendment along with a sphere amendment with CEQA. And then option three is to pursue option two plus annexation. So with that, that concludes my report. We ask that council provide direction to city staff on pursuing an SOI for the 1,929 acres just discussed. That concludes our report. We're prepared to answer questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Darnell. We appreciate the update. And at this time, council members, we can ask some questions. Councilmember Carwin's in the queue first.
Thank you, Mr. Darnell. If we were to go forward with the CEQA analysis and spend the money, the $700,000 or more, is there a potential that our request for a sphere of influence MOU would be denied? Is it possible we could spend the money and not get it?
I think that is a possibility. I mean, it's a very involved public process and involving many property owners and the Winchester community, the other entities, agencies, Valley-wide Parks and Rec District. There's, of course, the Winchester community out there that's expressed concerns. And, you know, we have to weigh LAFCO is going to weigh all of that, I think, in their consideration and the public input.
Explain to me, and I'm not, this is more of a planning question, why we need a CEQA report for just a sphere of influence if we're not annexing the property. If we're not going to take ownership of it, why do we need to do a CEQA?
Yeah, it's at a minimum, it does require a major amendment to our general plan and establishing general plan land use for that 1,900 acres just to be able to do the sphere amendment. And so that's why the CEQA.
But if we're not taking ownership of it, what does it matter what the environmental impact is?
The impact analyzed is on the general plan amendment. So the action of amending our general plan to include this area and designate land uses is what the CEQA analyzes.
So if we're going to put forth our influence via the sphere on what the land uses are, we need to know what the impacts of those land uses are as we're making our recommendations.
What if we don't change the land use? What if we do an annexation and accept exactly the way the general plan has already existing?
It isn't in our general plan now, so it still is a major amendment to our general plan. It would just, we could use the existing county designations, but we would still need to do a CEQA review. We'd have to update our circulation element, our open space, all of the elements of the general plan, all of our maps change. All of that constitutes a project under CEQA, so there's some level of review. Now, the type of CEQA document may change depending on our path, but there still is going to be a need for an environmental review document. Okay. The number we gave you was a full EIR at the highest, worst level of a CEQA document for the cost.
So the property is about 1,900 acres. It's basically all residential plus the high school?
Correct.
So there really wouldn't be any revenue generated by this property if we were to take ownership of it?
Not if it was developed as commercial, obviously property taxes, and if there were new development, there would be those one-time revenues for development impact fees or building permits. But in the long term, we're likely not looking at economic neutral, because we'd be providing services to the area, the residential area.
Those are all my technical questions. Thank you.
Back to that CEQA. So if we were to do this annexation application and apply with the notion that we're going to keep the general plan, the county's general plan designations, is it possible we could just simply do a mitigated negative deck effort? Would that suffice?
Possibly. It would more likely be some sort of a supplemental, subsequent, or addendum to the our general plan EIR. Okay. So it would be somewhere along the lines of something in the categories of the EIR.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other questions, council members? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still need clarification. If we choose not to annex, is there a need still to do a CEQA? This is only for an annex.
If we create a sphere, we're still amending our general plan. So
if we
yes.
create the sphere, it's still, got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have more, Bob?
I just had one more question that struck me as we were talking about this. Is there any kind of in-between where we just seek reference to Liberty High School and not the rest of the residential? I mean, really our focus on this property is we want to be able to control what happens at Liberty High School, since so many of our students go there and ingress and egress. I mean, what if we don't take on the whole residential element of this thing and do a sphere as it pertains to the high school? Is that a possibility to carve that out of the project?
Jurisdictional boundaries need to be contiguous. LAFCO's mission is to minimize islands or fingers, really. So when you're looking at the area, you know, the rectangle shape of all 1,900 acres.
Can we get the map up there? It's slide, I think, number 3. So where's the high school in that rectangle?
So the high school is out Wickard and Leon. So
What color is it in?
The southeast corner there, I think it's probably in the light kind of.
Does it border the edge of the rectangle?
the far edge, the eastern edge.
So,
not the western edge.
so cutting a piece across that way wouldn't do it, because, or if you did it straight down, it would create a U. Is that what you're saying?
We had a pointer, but maybe not.
Were you talking about like here?
Yep, that's the high school.
So if we cut it off here, would that change things?
Change things
for
how?
the scope of what we're looking to accomplish. Because that would get us down to Scott Road, that would give access, as opposed to the whole 1,900 acres. Does it have to be the whole 1,900 acres or nothing?
Well, I think the intent of identifying the 1,900 acres is that that is the existing leftover piece of the Sun City Menifee area plan that was not originally included when the city incorporated. So that piece right now is a leftover remnant and not an island in terms of LAFCO, but it is right now proposed to be incorporated in the new Winchester area plan. So they're expanding their boundary to capture that. Otherwise, it sits in its own area plan as it is, and it was not incorporated with the city of Menifee originally.
And I know we've had discussions with the Winchester MAC. Are they opposed to us taking the high school and leaving the rest to Winchester?
I don't know that we've gotten into discussions in terms of fragmenting the 1,900 acres. Originally, when we presented options or alternatives to the council for the sphere, it was a much, much larger area. There were options that extended all the way out to Highway 79. This is a much reduced option that fits within that that piece that was left over of the Sun City Menifee area plan.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions,
Yes.
council members? Go
Do
ahead.
we have any other sphere of influences with anyone else?
We do not have a sphere of influence outside the city boundary, which is, you know, most cities do. Our sphere of influence is contiguous with our city boundary, so we don't have any current areas identified for future growth for the city.
All right, do you have a question? No, hearing no other questions. Madam Clerk, have we received any correspondence on this item?
The council has received correspondence on this item.
All right, and I believe it's in our folders here. And do we have any requests to speak from the public on this item?
We do.
Would you call the first speaker, please?
First speaker is Preg Crowdy, followed by Derek Barbord.
All right, welcome, Mr. Cowdery.
Welcome, council members. As some of you know, I am the local historian for Winchester, and that's one person you never want to talk because we're like politicians and ministers. We don't know when to quit. But I would like to give you a history lesson. Back when your people were even thinking of becoming a city, among them Betty Boris and some other people that were in the community, they came to us as our town association and said, we would like to form our new city and we would like to go up to Briggs Road. And I said, well, really, we as a community would prefer that you choose Menifee Road. So after much discussion, it was agreed that, well, yes, you could go up to Briggs Road, but there was a promise made by that group at the same time that they would never come any further east than Briggs Road and annex any part of what we consider the Pleasant Valley and the community of Winchester. To answer your question about could you carve out that little square, I am sure you could. I do know from talking to some of the property owners that you are talking in that area, they are not in favor of becoming included in your sphere. They are happy to be within our MAC area and in our potential city in the future that could be a bubbling community similar to yours. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cowdery. And Mr. Cowdery, before you go, if you could get a letter from those property owners that uphold and sustain what you're saying, that would be very helpful to us. All right, thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Derek Barbour and then Eric Little.
All right, welcome, Mr. Barbour.
Thank you, council members. And Derek Barbour, representing Richland Communities tonight. I apologize, Brian Hardy couldn't be here, so I'm filling in the gap, but man, I might have to arm wrestle him in the future. You guys have Chili Cook-Off and Black Bear Diner, and honestly, like the best energy at a council session I've been at in a long time, so kudos to you to maintaining that. I come here actually, just thanking the city for a great working relationship over the years. I don't know if the city is aware, but we happen to be in contract and escrow for 700 acres of the 1,900 acres that you're talking about. So we're in contract with the Boré family to purchase their property. So we came tonight mainly just asking questions. It was a kind of short report on what the sphere might entail. I was hoping maybe in your discussion tonight you might be able to discuss what that land use and zoning plan might be for that sphere. It's not really included. If council could kind of talk about that. I think this might fall into Councilmember Sobek's district, so obviously you'd probably have a lot to say on that, I hope. And also, number two is just the strategic objective of it was a thriving economy. So I don't know exactly what that means, but if you could also elaborate on what that is. Obviously, I'm not here on a daily basis, and I don't know, but I'd really welcome the council's comments on that as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Barber. I want to ask you a bunch of questions, but I don't know if it's appropriate. So, but it has to do with, we're hearing things like landowners don't want this, and I'm just curious if that's correct or not. So. Madam Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
Eric Little, followed by Andy Dominigoni.
All right, welcome, Mr. Little.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. The area that you're talking about incorporating as part of the sphere of influence is intended to be incorporated into the future city of Winchester. And the major concern voiced by myself and other members of the Winchester Homeland Town Association is that any area that is included in the sphere of influence would not then be able to be included in the future city of Winchester. In addition to that, I understand that there are a lot of guaranteed fixed costs to this amendment and the plan overall would be very expensive for Menifee to pursue, and of course the ongoing maintenance of the area, providing all the services to the region in question. It doesn't seem like a financially solvent decision by the city to pursue including this area within your boundaries. My overall recommendation to the council is to pursue infill development and redirect energy to developing areas within the city, caring for older areas within Menifee, and generally trying to develop and promote prosperity within the Menifee area as it exists today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
Andy Dominigoni.
All right, hey, welcome, Mr. Dominigoni.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Andy Dominigoni. I'm the current chairman of the Winchester Homeland MAC and also a resident, longtime resident of the Winchester area. It's interesting that this has been going on for a while, behind closed doors, negotiations. When we met over a year ago at the supervisor's office in French Valley, where we talked about cooperation, talking about getting together with not only the MAC, the county, the city of Menifee, Valley-wide, and since that meeting, we have heard nothing but crickets. Zero. So where did the ball drop on whose side and never picked it up? It's one thing. And then you wanted to know what was happening in Winchester all the time, putting all this traffic with no infrastructure into your city. That is not always true either. The county built the parkway on landowners' funds, mainly to your city door, and passed. And also in that, we have worked very hard to fix other roads through the county in Winchester, the 79 improvement, the 79 new realignment, working with Caltrans on 74, Scott Road, which is being piecemeal like every other development gets piecemealed around here, sorry to say. So in those issues there, we see all the traffic coming from the east and the west. So we are the donut hole of everybody. I don't care if it's Temecula, Marietta, Menifee, Hemet, Beaumont, Banning, Paris. We see them all come through there. So to put the blame on Winchester is not correct. And now you have an MOU with the county that's supposed to talk about all this stuff. Okay, you made an MOU. Winchester was never invited. Okay. Doug Darnell, right here, who wrote this plan, comes to our meetings almost all the time. Here's all our updates and gives us an update, and we thank him for that. You know, he's very diligent in coming to our meetings. Some of the questions that one of the councilmen had here are very important questions in there. So you're gonna annex or put a sphere of influence over an area.
Mr. Dominigoni, your time is up.
If you can get to the end, Andy, you can continue.
Really hard to get to the end, okay, but it's gonna cost you a lot of money, and there's no guarantee you will win that fight. Thank you.
All right, we appreciate you coming tonight. Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
No other speakers.
All right, very good. So council members, we can discuss this at this point. I want to ask Mr. Darnell if you'd please come back to the podium. I have a question for you. I heard the word zero and crickets, and I'm just curious, did you share with the Winchester MAC that we would be talking tonight? I mean, is that in good faith to inform them that we were going to have this discussion?
Yes.
Okay, so that's all I needed to hear.
Okay.
Yes is good for me, because when I hear someone say zero and then I ask you that question, those contradict each other, so thank you. Council members, what we're doing is given direction tonight, and we've been shown those three options, and I'd like staff, if you don't mind, to pull up that last slide that shows the three options. We can certainly have more discussion if we like, but this is ultimately what they're asking us to wait, or to pursue a general plan and a sphere of influence, or a general plan, sphere of influence, and an annexation, which means presenting or submitting to LAFCO of full annexation and moving our city boundaries. And so that's what's before us. And we can certainly discuss it. I don't know if any of you guys want to start or if you want me to kind of kick it off, but
I actually was going to ask the ad hoc committee to share their thoughts.
Okay, so I'm on that ad hoc committee, and so is Councilman Dynas. So let me just go ahead and kick it off. A couple of things that automatically come to mind when we met with our county supervisor and his team, as well as some members of the MAC. The president of the Winchester MAC was there with his wife, and we talked about two things that we had hoped to accomplish. One of those is an MOU with the county that talks about cooperative discussions and good communication between the two. Since then, we have entered into an MOU with the county for that exact thing, so we can check that box. And I know our staff has reported to me that things are working very well in that communication. The second part that was made clear by all of us that day in that meeting was that we have an expressed interest in obtaining that 1,900-acre piece that was always part of the Menifee Sun City area plan prior to us being a city of Menifee. When we were under the county, we were under our area plan, that Sun City Menifee area plan, and this property was part of it. Now, I can't really tell you why, and there's all kind of speculation of why this piece, when the cartographer drew the maps, it wasn't included, and it was left out there, and someone was asleep at the wheel is the way that I'm going to say it, but it got left out there and open for grabs. Now, meanwhile, nothing's happened over the last few years, or our first 10 or so years of incorporation, until we started to notice, wait a minute, there's a piece that's there that originally was always ours. It was never part of the Winchester area plan. Today, the Winchester folks are seeing that there's a piece that was left there, and they're saying, hey, we might as well just pick that up if Menifee doesn't want it. But I think we're putting a flag in the ground and saying, we want it, we do want it. There are reasons why we want it, and we talked about the high school being one of those reasons. It has to do with economies of scale to the high school district for law enforcement contracts, and it also gives us, and I like what the general plan from the county has in that 1,900 acres. It has rural residential, it has estate lots, it has a lot of things that we've always kind of desired on our east end of our city. When we came up with our general plan, we talked about what's called a transect, where you have a transportation corridor, the 215 freeway, and then you slowly step out your densities as you get towards your rural edges. And so I believe this piece was always envisioned as part of the future of Menifee when the county had its area plan in the RCIP. Unfortunately, we left it out there and it's up for grabs. And here we are today, two entities looking at it and saying, well, we want it and we want it. But those folks in the Winchester area have said, hey, you guys are, remember a few years ago, we had the discussion about our sphere of influence, and we talked about putting that sphere all the way out to Highway 79, and that was a mistake. I'll look back on it and say we were overly aggressive, and it irritated the folks from Winchester, and man, there was emails that went to Boy Scout troops and who knows what. It was very disappointing to see that, but I understand and it looked aggressive on our part. And so we pulled that back, and I think we've now taken an approach that's reasonable. It's looking at something that was always ours, and we accidentally left it out there, and so we're claiming it now before it's too late. And so personally, I'm going to just share, I would like option 3. I like doing a general plan amendment and a sphere of influence and including an annexation so that our city limits now go all the way to Leon Road between Old Newport Road, Leon, Scott, and Briggs. Those are my initial thoughts.
Well, and the mayor's put it as succinctly as possible that there's nothing really to add other than we did go and, a little bit of history there that we did maybe overstep and expand our potential sphere of influence a little bit further than what we needed. As a compromise, we're willing to say support Winchester 100% to become a city in exchange for this small 1,900 acres. Not only that was our request, but it's also the high school's request as well, the school district. So I think I concur with what the mayor has said on that.
Thank you. And I'll just add, I was encouraged by the original MSR that was done by the county. And remember when we 4 years or so ago talked about doing our annexation and we got some resistance. And then at that time we were told, hey, the county is going to be doing a municipal services review. Maybe we should wait until that's done. That's going to be done by an independent, unbiased consultant that doesn't have any skin in the game. They don't own property. They're not an elected official. They are folks that are just going to do a fair study. And they did a preliminary draft, and that noted that the area would be well served by the city of Menifee. I know that there have been some modifications to that draft, and I'm not sure who did all of those, and I don't want to make any accusations, but I will say that I read that MSR, and it did say that the area would be better served. We have police and fire and code enforcement and all those things that the city offers, and so I am just going to say there was a recommendation by LAFCO to communicate with Valleywide and with the Winchester MAC, and I believe that we have done that. This meeting wasn't something clandestine that we snuck by. We actually did good faith and notified, and as Mr. Darnell mentioned. So, all right, I got others in the queue. We're going to go to Councilman Carwin and then Estrada.
I am a big proponent of unifying our schools together under our own authority. I know we don't have a Menifee High School district at this point, but having all of our students go to high schools that we do have some influence over is an important factor. So on one hand, a plan that brings Liberty High School under the authority of the city of Menifee is something that I favor. I don't know that we benefit from the fight over. What I'm looking at is spending the CEQA money, the $700,000, and probably will be more. I know Director Kitzrow said it could be less, but it's never less when it comes to government. And if we spend $700,000 to $800,000, our past relationship and with LAFCO does not give me an optimistic view of how this thing's going to go down. If we were going to lay odds on the favorability that we're going to get from LAFCO on this, spending $700,000 to $800,000 on that lottery ticket doesn't seem to make much sense compared to the return on it, even if we are successful. So I don't really know where the benefit is. I understand that it was supposed to have been part of the city of Menifee, but it ended up not becoming part of the city of Menifee. And then a lot of time has passed since then. The character has changed and the viability has changed and all those kinds of things. So I would rather wait and see what happens. I'm not in favor of spending the money on the CEQA study based on what I'm seeing here, because I just don't see the tremendous benefit. Perhaps that's the result of my more recent involvement in the city compared to yourself, Mr. Mayor. I know that your involvement in the history of the city is much deeper than mine, and I'm sure it stings you a lot more that this was an error that should have been here, that we're here where we are, than it does me. But I don't have that kind of affiliation with it. So the price tag on that CEQA study is really for the benefit of what we would get from it, even if we're successful, doesn't strike me. If this discussion was merely about that lower section of Liberty down to Scott Road, so it's not a finger, it's an actual section there, that might be something we could negotiate with the Winchester MAC and resolve it without having to go through too much of that. We could work that out in advance. I don't know what their feeling is on it, but the way it's currently sitting, that this 1,900 acres all or nothing and annexing it into the city of Menifee, and it just doesn't seem to be a good neighbor thing to do, and it just doesn't make financial sense to me to spend the money.
If you don't mind, Bob, and I appreciate your comments, whether we do a smaller piece or the full 1,900 acres, there's still going to be some level of CEQA. It's not going to change by making it smaller, then it reduces the number. And most likely, we won't have to do a full-blown EIR that could cost as much as $700,000. Let's not assume that it's going to require that. Let's assume that if we adopt the county's existing general plan, most likely we can get that accomplished with a mitigated negative deck at less than half that cost. But I see Ms. Kittro here, so maybe you can correct me if I'm saying the wrong thing.
No, thank you, Mayor, council members. I just wanted to clarify that dollar amount is not just for the environmental review. There would be a consultant brought on board to update our general plan along with us. We haven't gone out and solicited bids. The number that was provided as an estimate based on other work that we've been doing with our consultants. So we could go and solicit bids and get a more definitive number if that was something that the council was interested in doing. And then just ultimately, if we are given direction to move forward, we would need to come back to the council to enter into a contract with a consultant. So at that time, we would know that definitive dollar amount.
Okay.
It just seems like a big ask to go into that without knowing whether or not we'd need to do that. I mean, I have to just presume the largest kind of commitment, because if we presume smaller and then go in and it's a balloon, it's irresponsible on our part. So without knowing that, if it's going to be that number, that number is something that I can't justify.
And I get that, and I can appreciate that too. My concern, I guess, would be that if we keep kicking the can, eventually this is going to get swallowed up as part of an effort to annex and incorporate a city, and they're going to pick that piece up, and we're going to say, well, we kept kicking the can and lost it. So we need to move now. That's my thought. All right, Councilman Estrada, you're on the queue.
Yes, I'd like a little bit of an explanation from some of you who were on the council in October of 2022. This council said multiple times, no one is trying to take their land. We're not trying to annex. We just want to have a seat at the table. So where did that change from October 2022 to now discussions on, yeah, it would be great if we take an annex?
Okay, let me clarify that. So in 2022, we didn't say we're not trying to take their land. It's not their land. What we said was we are not trying to be onerous to the future incorporation of a potential city of Winchester. We're not trying to cause the city of Winchester to not be able to form. We said we support that 100%. And we would like a seat at the table. What that means is we'd like a better relationship and a respectful relationship between the county and our staff. We've accomplished that. But just to be clear, we didn't ever say we don't want to move our boundary and take your land. That's a really rough statement. I would never say those kinds of words. What we said is we don't want to be onerous to the potential formation of a city of Winchester, which is huge. This 1,900 acres, it would or would not be a part of a very, very large future city of Winchester. And we support them. That was the message that we said. Is that correct?
Well, they're looking at prior articles. Maybe you were misquoted, or maybe it wasn't reported accurately, but in one of the articles it mentions, this was never put as an opportunity to expand city limits. So now I'm confused on,
that?
This is a Menifee 24/7 article.
Okay, well.
So were you misquoted?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Did I say that, or is that him saying that?
It's in
reporter?
quotation marks.
Attributed to who? Says Bill Zimmerman?
Zimmerman said, we've heard about emails being sent to Boy Scout troops saying they're trying to steal our city. That's BS. This is just about having a seat at the table. And I'll go on a little bit further because I won't read the whole paragraph. This was never put as an opportunity to expand city limits. So were you misquoted?
I don't think I said those words. You might be reading what the reporter decided to add on top of a quote from me, but those were not my words.
Okay, and then we also have a quote
Everything has to be taken in context, and you can't put a quote on somebody where there's no quote.
Okay. And Councilman Leesmeyer said this is about getting impacts of Winchester on Menifee mitigated. You know, that implies to me we're not trying to take Winchester. We just want to understand. You know, when this all was created and I was understanding it, we just wanted a seat at the table. And Councilman Leesmeyer, other councilmen here, I'm not going to read through the whole article. But anyway, the article is from October 21st, 2022. And I didn't get the impression that we were trying to annex anything. And so now, this is kind of a surprise. What pros do we have? What are some of the pros? We know the $700,000 would be a hindrance to our budget. We know maintaining their city streets without commercial would be a hindrance. How do we square that?
Well, I don't know that you're saying $700,000 as if that's some sort of fact, and that has not been clarified. What has been said is it could cost as much as, that's like the top, if we had to do a full-blown EIR on it, it could end up costing that much money. So just to clarify, it could be much less. I mentioned it earlier. There's a high school there that contracts with us for Paloma Valley High School and Heritage High School, and then they have to have a separate contract with the Riverside County Sheriffs for Liberty High School because it's outside of our boundary. This 1,900 acres picks up that Liberty High School, and they could then have their law enforcement contract by the city under one contract. Economies of scale. It saves the school district money. So they have an interest in encouraging us to move our boundary to pick up the property there that we're talking about. There's a positive. The other one is there was a municipal services review that was done by the county that said that this area, which is currently unincorporated county, would be better served by the city of Menifee. So the people that live there and the future people that live there would be able to say, hey, we're part of this city of Menifee. And we're a popular place. You can see how we're growing. And a lot of people like our public safety. A lot of people like the services we provide and the social infrastructure. Those are the positives.
Don't you guys think we're already too big? Don't you guys think that we can't handle the infrastructure needs already?
I'm not a small-minded person. I like to think big. So, yeah, and if we can serve that area better and if it adds and complements our city, I told you that the land use that's there right now is for estate homes, and it's something that we desire. Anybody who wants rural, and I think I've heard you say that, would love to see something like that added to our portfolio of opportunities. So.
Sure, and I do love the rural, but I'm not looking to add more houses and roofs, and the space we have is, we need to manage that and not get deeper in the hole here and more projects and more maintenance. We need to take care of what we have now. And, we don't like how Paris comes over here and tells us what to do with our warehouses. Now, we're over here telling Winchester, hey, this is what we think you guys should be doing. So I think it's hypocritical of us to be doing this to our neighbors. I also think the public's not gonna like hearing that we're approving more rooftops and want to get bigger, and they're gonna be very frustrated. You already see they mention, oh great, more houses are being approved, more houses being approved, and then yeah, we put it off on the county sometimes, saying, oh, it's not us, it's not us. But here we are saying we want more rooftops. So I would be against spending $700,000 on these general plan amendments. I would be against adding more roads to our streets. We have plenty of projects that we need to handle now, and I think we need to respect Winchester's boundaries and manage what we have here.
Other comment, and I respect your opinion, sir. Other comments? Councilmember Sobek's next in the queue.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff is looking for direction for us on options 1, 2, or 3. I have a question based on some of the comments tonight, based on a comment by, let's see, is it Derek Barber? And then based on the mayor. So we know what that area has been designated as. You mentioned that Richland has 700, how many homes? 700 acres coming into that 900. Are you planning on making any changes to that area, to the rural area? Okay, you're not. Okay, and I know on what the mayor has said, he kind of wanted option 3, but I have a question on option 2. If we were to direct city to pursue a general plan amendment and SOI without an annexation, would you be able to come back and give us more detailed information on a benefit versus a non-benefit of the city? I mean, at what point can we get more information? Is that having to go through the CEQA? You know, like it's been mentioned, we will adopt more streets to take care of, right? There's more maintenance. We would be servicing fire and police. And so how do we figure out annexing this would be a benefit to our city or not?
As part of a LAFCO application, we would be doing a fiscal analysis, so that's not something we would do right now. We wouldn't take on any obligation for maintenance or services until the properties were annexed. So if it's in our sphere, that's not the point where it becomes part of the city. It becomes part of what could be the future part of the city.
Okay, and at that point, we don't know what the cost benefits or non-benefit would be.
It would be part of the process that we would go through.
Be part of the process. And along that process, do we have an opportunity to say, stop, continue?
Sure. I mean, we could start the process and get some preliminary studies put together and then present, a progress report to the council for further input.
Okay, that's kind of what I was looking for. I also want to make clarification here on our report that was given tonight on the supplement. There is a map on the back here. And I remember this map when I went to the county. And I actually had pointed this out, that the area that we're talking about is not in the Winchester MAC. Correct. It is not, or not the MAC, sorry, it's not in the Winchester, what is it called?
Area plan.
Area plan. And that this is an area that is not already in it. And when I saw this a few years ago, we didn't know the impacts Liberty High School was going to have on our city. In the meantime, there's been some houses built as well that are being sold as if they're in Menifee. Each of us have sat here at the dais when residents came and spoke to us about situations that they were having out there, and we had to say to them, we are so sorry. We do not have jurisdiction. You're going to have to go to the county to get those issues taken care of. So I'm just kind of wondering the difference between 2 and 3, cost-wise, and staff's thoughts between 2 and 3.
In terms of the technical analysis and the general plan amendment, there would not be significant increase between 2 and 3. The increase it's probably minimal in terms of the type of application we submit to LAFCO. Instead of just a sphere of influence amendment, it would be sphere of influence amendment and request for annexation. But the modifications to the general plan and any supplemental CEQA review would be very similar.
Okay. Is there any part of this where, in a preliminary, you could take a survey of the parents of the students that attend Liberty, or even the neighborhood in that area, to see their thoughts and interests on if they were to be annexed? I mean, is there anything that we can do to get an idea of what people are thinking out there? Or is that just more cost?
We could potentially work with our PIO's office to do some sort of outreach to, I would say we would want to connect with the property owners in the 1,900 acres.
Okay, all right. I'm kind of wondering if this might be helpful to have a little bit of information before we do spend the money, but I know the sphere was just really important, and I know the school's in the issue with the school, so.
If I may add, if we move forward with any of these options, we would be embarking on, significant community engagement throughout the process. We would continue our communications with the county staff, the supervisor's office, outreach with Valleywide, the Winchester MAC group, and then obviously the property owner. So that would be wrapped up in the work effort as well.
Does the property owners make a vote on something like this?
Not on the sphere, or no.
What about annexation?
That we need a percentage of, and I don't have that information off the top of my head.
So you need a percentage. So if we were to do the sphere, then you could do the outreach, and then we kind of get an idea.
Yeah, I mean, again, the annexation component is a really far down the road piece as part of the application to LAFCO.
Councilmember Sobek,
Thank you.
maybe be prepared to make a motion to move forward with option 2, but I do see Councilman Carwin's in the queue.
Yeah, two things. One, Mr. Mayor, you said we keep throwing around the $700,000 number like it's fact. We're not making that up. It's in the staff report. The staff report says the fiscal impact associated with initiating a general plan amendment and sphere of influence amendment, including a CEQA environmental review, is projected to be upwards of $700,000. There's no second sentence there that says, but it could be a lot less. That's not even, that option is not even in the staff report. So it is fact. That's what our staff is telling us this is going to cost. It's what's in their review as the estimated cost. Second, what I'm really concerned about is the RENA regulations, that if we take 1,900 acres of residential property, we could end up with 1,900 acres of low-income housing over there, and there's nothing we could do about it because, well, not 19, whatever the minus the high school is over there. And that's, we say we want this because we like it to be rural, and as you get away from the freeway, we get more estate homes and that kind of thing. But that's exactly the opposite of what the current governor's administration is putting on us, and that's not part of our RENA numbers now. If we got that property, we'd have to readjust our RENA numbers, and that could all end up going to that property that we don't want. So those are two major concerns that I have on this project, and I'm not in favor of amending the general plan for that kind of cost. If the CEQA review wasn't required and it wasn't going to be $700,000, it was going to be $25,000 for some sort of application, fine. But that's a huge investment for something that we don't know how it's going to go. And if we win, we might lose for winning.
Thank you for your thoughts.
Could staff confirm with the RENA numbers in the state if it's a land use already designated rural estate? Can the state come in and make that change in that area?
It would likely be part of the next cycle. So we already have our adopted housing element, but we could certainly do that research on if we annex, at what point there would be a recalibration, if there would be one.
And that would be very important.
I think RENA requirements apply to more than just the city of Menifee. The future city of Winchester will have to do it as well. The county of Riverside unincorporated will have to do it as well. So it's not as if this has anything to do with changing RENA one way or the other. It's always going to be there. Because the staff report said it could cost as much as $700,000 estimated, doesn't mean that Moses said that in stone. That's just staff giving us food for thought. And I asked the question, could it be less? Could we adopt the county's general plan as is and maybe only be required to do a mitigated negative deck? And the answer was yes, it's a possibility. So don't get so hung up on what words were put on a PowerPoint and not be flexible enough to ask a question, could it be different? And here the answer is yes. Let's roll with it as it evolves.
Well, to be
right?
fair, I wasn't quoting from the PowerPoint. I was quoting from the staff report, which
Okay.
has a fiscal impact section. I know that it was drawn out and summarized in the PowerPoint, but when you say it was thrown in the PowerPoint, that kind of diminishes
Sorry,
the
let me clarify. It was in the staff presentation, but that's not etched in stone either. And if we get a clarification, could it be less? And the answer is yes. We should assume that it could be less.
Just one last comment. These are our kids that go to school there from Menifee. And that hits me really hard, that these are our kids. And when those parents came before us and needed help, we could not help them. So just last thought on that.
That's one of the reasons why option 3 includes an annexation, and that's where our law enforcement will be able to serve that high school district. If it's not in our city's boundaries, our city limits, then we're unable to provide that under contract as a regular service. So Mayor Pro Tem Dinas has been very patient.
Thank you. A couple things, back at the beginning, we talked about that we looked at a potential sphere of influence. Yes, part of it was to have control, I want to say control, but a say in it. But also a part of it did include this 1,900 acres, because we are willing to back off that for that 1,900 acres that's not part of the Winchester plan. That was what we thought would be a great compromise, instead of pull it back just to that 1,900 acres. And when we had that report that the mayor referred to that was done by a third party, that area would be best served by the city of Menifee. That has to be considered as well for those future residents when it comes to their public safety and other needs. When it comes to the cost of those, like all new homes that were built in Menifee now, they do have CFDs and those type of things that do cover their costs. So it's not like we're going to annex this and then everyone's going to, else in the city is going to have to pay for those new homes. They're going to have to pay their own way. That's important to remember. But I have to take some issue with comparing this to Paris. This is not us going into a city and suing them to do some, to make it difficult for us to have some work in our own city. This is county land, and I might add, our meeting with the county supervisor, we have county concurrence on this as well.
Sure, there are some variances, but that neighbor is trying to tell us what to do, and now we're the neighbor trying to tell them what to do.
Right, but we're not asking our neighbor to do something in their sphere. We're doing it. This is not part of.
No, we're just going to take it. We're not asking them to do anything. We're just taking the homes.
This is not part of theirs to take. We're not. Anyways,
Don't throw pearls to swine. All right.
So anyways, I would, and I know it's a big decision, and I think there needs to be more information, than this, upward to 700,000. Well, whatever we vote tonight, it's not going to cost us 700,000. We're not going to be obligated to that. I think it'd be worthwhile to have staff come back with, we've asked them, well, can we do some kind of a full CEQA, if we keep the land use the same, can we do something different? That's the kind of thing we need to hear from staff and see what the potential cost would be for that. So I think that's the kind of direction I think we should do, is send it back to staff. Here's what we're thinking. Yes, look at since 2 and 3 are so close together, let's go back and see what our options are for doing that before, we have to say, well, it's going to cost 700,000. It may not. It may be more. But at least we'll have a better understanding of it.
Ms. Kittredge, can you clarify something? Between the two options of 2 and 3 adding annexation, does that have a difference in cost when it comes to things that Mayor Pro Tem's talking about CEQA and things like that.
Not for that process.
So it doesn't really
No,
matter.
it
If
would
we,
be-
if we go with option 3, it's not gonna kick the price way up from option 2.
No, where it would change is likely a difference in application fee to LAFCO, and then obviously upon annexation, it's the cost of services, right? I think, you know, if the council is leaning towards 2 or 3, I'd like the opportunity to go out for an RFP, get those real numbers, and bring those back for the council's review and consideration.
Can you do that if we choose option 3 tonight and give you that direction? Then you can go out, do an RFP, and come back, and if the number's just way too high, we don't have to do this.
That's
We're asking
correct.
you to get started with the process and go and find out what it's gonna cost us and what the requirement is going to be environmentally. And if we see that the number's just way more than we anticipated, at that time, we have the option as a council to say, you know what, we wanna go ahead and pause the effort, so.
That's correct.
All right, thank you. With that, I'm going to make the motion that we adopt and direct staff to pursue the option 3, the general plan amendment, the sphere of influence, and the annexation with CEQA. Can I get a second on that motion?
I'll second.
All right, so we'll call for the question. I'm going to need some help.
We got logged out. I guess we ran out of quarters,
The meter,
so they kicked us
the
off.
meter expired.
Password saved. Come on. Hey Pat, what's the password?
I plugged him.
Menifee. Might be an exclamation point. Yep, it's an exclamation point. Yeah. No, not at. Not at. Menifee, exclamation point.
All right, so Stephanie, I think we still need that prompt for the motion and second.
So I put the motion as Mayor Zimmerman and the second as Mayor Pro Tem Dinas.
Okay. And I see that passes 3-2, so we look forward to finding out some better numbers as we go. And thank you, staff, for working with us on this. And I appreciate everybody's respectful conversation and input on this. All right, so now we're going to move on to item 12.2. This is our 2023 annual report. I believe Mr. Southard is going to be presenting. But before he does, I'll just share, this is similar to what we used to call the city manager's annual report. And so this might be something that looks like what we've seen in the past, but now we're calling it something different. Is that right, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, we are changing the report a little bit to be a sort of a comprehensive citywide report and not just my report. A lot of it, as you know, is part of the report that I used to do, but now it's a comprehensive report, and we are trying to include every department, every action, and I think we have a very good presentation to explain the way we do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for helping us understand what we're doing. And so, Mr. Southard, we look forward to hearing about our activities and some of the goals achieved and all of that.
Perfect, absolutely. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Philip Southard. I'm the city's Public Information and Legislative Affairs Officer, here tonight to present on our 2023 annual report. So, as part of the annual report process, we wanted to reaffirm our commitment to working with a purpose and having a clear vision of how the city approaches our activities and the use of personnel and financial resources. So under the leadership of the city manager, the departments have worked collaboratively to develop a goal-oriented strategic plan, a award-winning budget, and a thoughtful capital improvement program. All these documents work in harmony to streamline our activities and provide clear direction on our operations planning and the allocation of funding for vital programs and projects that will enhance the quality of life for our Menifee community. So with that in mind, the 2023 annual report highlights the achievements made throughout the year through the lens of our strategic plan priorities, with each department playing a crucial role in achieving those priorities, and those are listed there on the screen. As was mentioned, the report has been redesigned a little bit. That was partly to improve the readability of the report, to provide a high-level overview of major accomplishments and milestones. Something that we did incorporate this year is we did actually include videos pertaining to each objective, and those are linked directly in the report. And that report is available now online at cityofmenifee.us/annual report. So I don't want to give too much away. I want people to read the report, but I did pull out some of the highlights from last year that we did want to share here tonight. So our public works team was able to secure over $40 million in grants for CIP projects. I think that's really important because those are funds that could have gone to other communities, and they came here to our city. Our community services department collaborated with local community partners to help bring the wall that heals to Menifee. And further show support for our veteran community. We launched the Menifee TV channel, which I'm sure hopefully some folks are watching on right now as we're speaking. We're creating original content for that channel on a monthly basis. Our community development team has been very busy, continues to be very busy, having reviewed over 235 planning applications and issuing over 6,000 building permits. The economic development team created the Menu Grant, which is designed to attract new and unique entertainment and dining options to our city. Menifee PD launched the Project Lifesaver and You Are Not Alone programs, which are designed to help vulnerable populations in our community. It was mentioned earlier during Chief Olson's presentation, but we did add Medics Squad 7 to our city, which has helped dramatically reduce emergency response times across the city. I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. The city's finance department successfully implemented the city's first 2-year budget, which helps with our long-term planning. Our human resources department helped bring 92 new employees on board for the city, and our IT team, who does a lot of different functions across the city, helped complete nearly 5,000 requests across the organization. So that's just a sampling of some of the achievements. Those are covered comprehensively in the annual report. The next slide highlights some of the awards that were received by the city in 2023. So Menifee was named a Best City by Inland Empire Magazine readers. We were also named a top workplace for the 5th year in a row. For the 12th consecutive year, the finance team was awarded the Certificate for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The Permit Ready ADU program received the Excellence Award for Best Practices by the American Planning Association's local chapter. Our Gale Webb Action Sports Park was recognized for its excellence in design by the California Parks and Rec Society. And the California Association for Local Economic Development recognized 2 Menifee programs, the city's Workforce Development Center and Business Incentive Program. I'd like to note that we will be sharing the report as a news flash, and it'll be pinned on the city's website going forward. We additionally plan to share the report through social media, and we'll be creating a PSA for Menifee TV where we can inform our residents on how they can access that report. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Southard, and I'm really pleased to hear those last sentences, because that's the whole time you were showing these. I was like, these would make great Menifee TV, little segments and commercials where people can kind of see all the great things that are happening. So I'm glad you're already thinking that. Council members, do we have any questions? No discussion yet, but questions for Mr. Southard? Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak from the public or any correspondence on this agenda item?
No correspondence and no public comments.
Thank you. Council members, any other feedback for Mr. Southard? And just so you know, we don't have to vote on anything. It's a receive and file, but any other thoughts?
I just want to, it's always nice to see this report. And I know in the past it was the city manager's report. You did a great job putting this together. It's just something really nice that we can show our residents annually what we are accomplishing as a city. And then we didn't even go into the strategic plan, the 5 years and the details, but I mean, thank you for putting this together. I think our residents will enjoy this information.
Excellent. Good feedback. All right, with that, thank you, Phil. We appreciate it. We're going to receive and file that item. And now we're on item 13. Mr. City Attorney, anything to report?
Not tonight, Mayor.
All right, item 14, Mr. City Manager.
No reports.
No reports. Council members, any future agenda requests?
I have one.
All right.
I'd like to get an update on our animal control fees and ordinances. We talked about that about a year ago. We were going to update those, and I'd just like to know where that stands.
Second.
Thank you.
Carwin and Estrada. Okay, thank you. Any others? Hearing none, we are adjourned. It is 8:29. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great week.